a secure peace, and not just peace, as in peace treaties. Peace treaties in themselves give you nothing. Peace treaties in themselves do not secure peace. In order to have a peace that will endure, it must be grounded in security. Peace without security is an oxymoron. It just doesn't have any meaning. Democracies represent the will of the majority, and most people don't want to go to war. Democracies might respond to aggressive provocations, but they will not, as a rule, tend to initiate it. The only thing that will prevent a dictatorship from going to war is external deterrence. You have to make this distinction between democracies and dictatorships. Now, here's our problem in the Middle East. In a very large radius, Israel is the only democracy. So the kind of peace we can make with our neighbors is a peace of the second kind, a peace opposite dictatorships. And that is predicated on Israel's strength and deterrence. So if one of our neighbors comes to us, as the late president of Syria, Hafez Assad, came to me, and he said, I will sign this is a peace treaty, I will sign a peace treaty with you. I will negotiate the Golan Heights with you if you give me the Golan Heights in advance of the negotiations and get down to the waters level. That's the way we negotiate in the Middle East. Then the answer to that is no. The answer is no. And apart from any other reason, the answer is no. You cannot defend the peace. There's nothing to stop Syria from tearing up that piece of paper, and you have Syrian tanks in the Galilee within short order. And it's the same way when Yasser Arafat came to me and he said, I will sign a peace treaty with you, providing you go back to the 67 lines and cut half of Jerusalem. Then the answer is no. No. And if you cannot defend the peace, don't sign it. Don't do it. This is the kind of principle that should guide any nation facing undemocratic neighbors in a situation of conflict. It guided most of the governments of Israel. I think there's an understanding that the key to peace in our part of the world is strength. The only way that we can secure a stable Middle East is to strengthen Israel and to strengthen the American-Israeli relationship. To have the United States approach Israel not as another element in the Middle East, but as a democratic ally, as the real ally, as the only true, lasting, and enduring ally of the United States, and vice versa in this area. I think that we are now moving into a new area, which is both into a new era, which has both great opportunities and great risks. The forces of fanaticism that are the most powerful and the most dangerous to our world and to our common values are the forces of Islamic fundamentalism. They possess at least one sovereign state in the form of Iran, and there are other affiliate fanaticisms that now govern Iraq. And these nations, these countries, are seeking to arm themselves with ballistic missiles that are tipped both with chemical and biological warheads, and if they can have their way, within a decade or half a decade, with atomic weapons. We will enter a different world if, for the first time in history, such regimes will have atomic weapons. This is an enormous threat to all of us. I can tell you that simultaneously, there is another process that is taking place. I invited to Israel somebody who knew something about totalitarianism. His name is Vladimir Bukovsky. He came to Jerusalem, and he told me, he said, Benjamin, in 10 years from now, there won't be a Soviet Union. And I said, Vladimir, you spend too much time in those psychiatric wards. And he said, you don't understand. You see, in this monolithic totalitarian society, the minute the cracks are propagating and people have information, they have samizdat, they have these texts that are replicated on copying machines and circulated. We have foreign broadcasts that we can hear. The minute those cracks propagate, it's just a question of time before the entire structure, the entire scaffolding of a police state collapse. And he was right, on the button. So I'm telling you today, right now, that all those regimes outside the Middle East and inside the Middle East, their time as presently constructed is running out. And they're going to have to modify themselves or collapse. One of those two things will happen. Now, I grant you, it's not going to happen overnight. I grant you, too, that in the Middle East, it'll happen last. China now has 50 million internet users. 3 million of those now have access to uncontrolled internet. When that number reaches 100, and when the uncontrolled part reaches 10 or 15 million, it's a different China. It will not become the United States or Israel, but it will no longer be the completely totalitarian and controlled society that it is today. And that's good news for you, and it's good news for everyone. Iran has 200,000 satellite dishes and internet use. I once spoke to the head of the CIA, and I said, look, if you want to encourage a change of regime in Iran, forget about all these standard CIA stuff. All you need are these bigger transponders to beam forth Beverly Hills 20050 and Melrose Place and all that other, I don't want to say junk stuff, which has obviously its problems when it's beamed to our children, but it's a much bigger problem when it's beamed to theirs. Because the young people in Iran see these very nice houses and these nice cars and these swimming pools and say, we'd like to have that too. I believe that these principles of securing our common defenses, of ensuring the progression of free markets everywhere, can better mankind. But I would be remiss if I would not say that these ideas would not have a chance, would not stand a chance, without the great, enormous, historic contribution of the people and governments of the United States of America. It has made now a world possible that would not have been conceivable in the imaginations of our parents and grandparents. There is now the dream of security and peace and prosperity available to all mankind. It is not an impossible dream. It is possible. It is possible because the right ideas in the right country came forth and spread everywhere. So I've come here tonight as a citizen of the world, of the free world, of a free society, as an Israeli and as a Jew, to say a very simple message to all of you. Thank you. Thank you, America. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.